YouTube, what's up? What's the word, man? It's Manny Lagunas back with the story of. Go ahead and subscribe for us. If you're in here watching, if you've made it this long with us, man, go ahead and subscribe. You guys know the deal. I'm sitting here with the man who makes everyone happy as soon as he turns his camera off, Michael Bowie. And if you don't know, you won't know by now. This is season 3, the story of, dedicated to the man, the myth, the legend. He has 2 movies due back at Redbox this weekend. Manny Pierce. E-Man, what's going on, brother?
What 2 movies I got to do back at Redbox? I'm confused.
First and foremost, thank you for being here. That's enough out of you. Michael, what's going on?
It's good to see you, Manny. Next time, if you could, though, put the camera on the ground. That way we can see you from head to toe. But it is good seeing you. Emmanuel Pierce, good to have you back. Last time we talked about your middle school years.
How you doing, Milk Dud Head?
I'm going to ignore you, Biz Marquis, a.k.a. I don't know.
A.k.a. Peanut Head Man, how you doing?
A.k.a. I'll fight you, a.k.a. whatever I can come up with. Anyway, moving on. As I was saying, we jumped into your middle school years before, and now we're jumping into your high school years. However, we've talked before filming this, and we found out that you had some falsifications that were made, and you want to kind of correct those after, speaking with your mom. So if you want to touch base before we jump into those high school years, let's hear it.
Yeah, so my mother called me because she's been watching the show, and she wants me to correct the record on a couple things. She wants to say that I asked her about sex before, and she panicked and got her boyfriend. As far as my school changes, I was kicked out of Oak Park because I pushed a parent.
Kids. That's all I gotta say.
Then I went to Montessori school and I was kicked out of that. Then I went to Man, which is what I mentioned. Ludington, I stopped going to Ludington because my mom could no longer afford the van ride service. That's the guy that I was talking about. And then one thing that also helped me with my anger that she said is karate. I do remember karate. I had a green belt in like 2 months. I don't know why I stopped doing karate, but yeah. So those are the corrections.
Michael. Don't get out of line, Michael.
You probably stopped doing karate because the Make-A-Wish ended up stopping for the amount of time that they were supposed to work with you. Anyway, as I would like to say, those are really good facts. It would be, maybe we need to bring her on the show as a side person just to correct anything that you get wrong. However, we are now into your high school years, and high school is that crucial part where you're a teenager, so everyone thinks they're cool, and for some odd reason you still think you are. But we are at a point where you're at a different location. You don't know really many people, and that's kind of an experience in itself. So explain to me, what was that first day like? Where did you go, and what was that first day like, that experience?
I don't.
Lemon in your mouth?
I don't think that I'm cool. I'm too grown to be worried about being cool to anybody. Number one.
We were past that.
Number two.
That was like 3 minutes ago.
Number two, my first day of high school. It's kind of crazy. When I got there,
that green belt didn't help.
I didn't fight anybody in high school.
All right.
Didn't have to use my green belt. Anywho, but I'll beat you down. Try me. Anywho,
go ahead.
Mess around and find out. Anywho, yeah. So it was weird. I remember getting in, and like the first thing you had to do was go through these metal detectors. When you came into high school, you put your bag to the side, they look through your bag, you go through the metal detectors or whatever. And so Cass has 7 floors. My locker was on the 6th floor, but all my classes were on 1st, 2nd, and 3rd.
Okay.
And it's
7. What is this? The Empire State Building? And why are there metal detectors? Is this Are you in prison too? Like, what is going on?
No, I'm not, and it's for protection for the students. So to make sure nobody's bringing anything to school or anything like that. So yeah, yep, I remember, and it's a long line too. So like that's the first day I learned that you gotta kind of get there early too. You can't really be slacking because it's a long line to get to the metal detectors, and you still got to get to class on time. And like I said, my locker is on 6, so I gotta climb 6 flights of stairs just to get to my locker. Plus, because on top of that, students aren't allowed to use the elevators
I was
on the
just about to
staff.
ask that. Like, you guys didn't have elevators in there?
No, we had elevators. Students are not allowed to use the elevators. Only staff. Students had to use the stairwells.
And the crippled.
Well, yeah, disabled as well.
Well, you
But
didn't use them
yes,
stairs enough, apparently.
Okay. All
All
right.
right, go
Again,
ahead. I'm listening.
yeah.
You started it at the beginning, and I'm trying not to make a thing of
listen,
it.
listen. I'm gonna smack your milk dud head up if you keep playing with me. Anywho, anywho, yeah. So I just remember my first day trying to get to my locker and then get to my class. Like it was crazy, and passing time is only 5 minutes in between classes. So like I didn't really have 5 minutes to if you gotta go to your locker from 6 to go back to 3, 2, or 1. You got 5 minutes.
So you were using your locker actively? Like you had stuff?
No. See, yeah, look, I figured it out after the first day that I just needed to carry all of my books with me. So I just carried all of my books and just had a huge book bag in my bag because I wasn't gonna keep going up to my locker on 6 to get my books. I mean, I went up there, especially if I got there early. I went up there to like put my coat in my locker or like if I had something that I knew I wasn't going to use and didn't want to carry around, I would put that in my locker. But no, all of my stuff for classes and stuff like that, I just kept in my book bag. There was no point in me.
And what about friends? I mean, this is like the first day, first week, first month. Did you acquire friends? And if so, how easy was that being inside of a new environment?
So as far as friends go, just like I had some friends previously that coming into this because I did math for 8th grade, and there were some people who did that also went to CAS. I didn't see those people a lot, so I was kind of starting over. They weren't in any of my classes, and they didn't have my lunch hour, so I never really saw them. And again, this school has 2,000 plus kids, so there was only one person that I saw that did have my lunch hour, and his name was Troy Kaplan, and so I sat with him at lunch and got to talking to people. And generally, if people had your lunch hour, they had a couple classes with you. So you were in class with them. So, yeah, we had the same lunch hour. We kind of hung out, and I got some more friends. And it was weird. They called me George for whatever reason. They didn't call me by my name, which was odd. I don't know why that is, but that's just something. My whole first year of high school, people at lunch just called me George.
Did they have
Like
curious in front of that? So the question I
No.
have is what activities and sports did you do? Did you do any of those?
So I got into really playing football at that time, but it was still in Little League because there's freshman football in Detroit is kind of weird. It's not really, you just go play JV. And this is like my first time really diving into the foray. So I played for my uncle's Little League team, Detroit Giants.
What position?
Defensive tackle. When I played with them, defensive tackle, and I was an offensive lineman. I was a big kid. This was the time where I started to stop being chubby and shape myself out because I started doing like when I started playing football with them, I think I was like maybe 200 pounds. And by the end of that season, I was like 180. I had lost like 40 pounds just playing football. Um, Mainly because you had to make weight to play. So I had to lose weight. That's number one. And number two, just the constant activity helped me get my weight under control.
How good were you? Like 1 to 10, 10 being super good during that
When
time
I
frame.
when I first started, how good was I? I was not very good.
How
When
good
I
was your
first
team?
started,
The school.
The team was very good. The team had just won a championship the year before. We went pretty deep into the playoffs. I think we were one game away from going back to fourth field again. The team was really, really good. I just personally was not. I mean, I was just starting out. I wasn't that good, so um, it took some time for me to learn the skills to be a better player.
Hmm.
Why
Eh,
football? Sorry.
no, go ahead.
I've always loved it. I've always enjoyed it. I played a lot of football, video game. I just always loved football. I just was never.
Yeah.
My mom was so protective that I never had the chance to do it. And finally, my uncle was kind of like, "Okay, this has to stop. Like you have to let him do this and try this and learn how to do it." So that's um, when I did that. I finally was able to do it and play.
And how were you with grades? Did you get good grades those first 2 years? Did you struggle? And if so, what were some of those struggles?
The first 2 years, I've always had good grades. Like I said, I've always been a smart person.
You're a smart
I didn't.
person, but you were just pushing teachers and parents?
That was I was in first grade. Uh, yes, I was always a smart kid. Had good grades. Not a problem. Um, I can recall the one class that I struggled in, and that's because I didn't like the teacher. Was Miss Cargile's chemistry class. And yes, we had chemistry in the ninth grade, first
Mhm.
semester.
Mhm. This ain't the '80s anymore, Michael.
I got through without
Century,
taking
all right.
chemistry somehow, so
Yeah, first semester I could not stand that lady. I did not like her class. Nobody liked her. Like she was one of those teachers that nobody liked. I didn't like her class, and like I got a B, I want to say B minus in her class. And like I was worried about that because all my other grades were like A's and B's. My mom's rule was I was not allowed to bring home anything lower than a B.
Right, right.
But a B minus was kind of pushing it, and I knew I was going to get questions like, "Why'd you get a B minus in this class and you got all other A's and B's?" And I when I got the report card and when she got it, I was just honest. I was like, "I don't like her. I don't like her class. I'm not. I can't learn from her." So my mom's rule for grades was always as long as you are doing your best, and I know and I can tell you're doing your best and putting your best foot forward, we won't have a problem. And for her, for me, that was nothing less than a B.
so we've talked about sports, we've talked about grades. Tell me about girls. You've obviously pointed out that you learned about sex from
Mhm.
your mom. You had to experience puberty through the banana, uh,
Mhm.
or what was it? Was
It was a pot.
oh,
It was
Thank
a
you very
pencil.
a
much.
pot handle.
Yeah.
Uh, so what was the experience? Did you have a girlfriend? What was the experience with girls going through this?
Ninth grade year, I had a girlfriend. My first girlfriend. Her name was Kishana.
Mm-hmm.
That was also my first kiss, consequently. So she was my first kiss. We didn't like.
Hold on, mom. Close your ears. Are you going to read?
I don't think we lasted too long. It's just ninth grade teen angst, all that other stuff, and like you know, her and one of the dudes that I was close with ended up dating. So then that broke up that friendship. Like it was just some stupid high school stuff.
Are you
So
sure
ninth
that it
grade
wasn't
year.
because she found out that you pushed that teacher, Chris Brown? I'm kidding. I'm not going to keep going back to it.
But you can say
No,
you were
no,
definitely.
it's because I punched you in the face, Michael. Booth. That's
Oh,
why she.
all
That's
right.
why she
Okay.
left me.
Back to the story of Emmanuel Pierce. So you can definitely say, I guess what I'm taking from this is you were definitely sort of opening yourself up more.
Mhm.
Younger kid
Yeah,
and you were
definitely.
and were close, and now you're sort of opening yourself up, right? You had to make new friends. You
Mhm,
found a new
mhm.
girlfriend, and in the earlier episodes, you sort of mentioned to us a little bit about your role models. How did that change once you got into high school, got new interests, right, and new friends? How did
Um, role models. How did that
yeah.
change when I got into high school? I guess when I got into high school, I was able to meet some other people. I would say some of the same people are still were still involved, and not all of them. Things kind of change. People move on, people's lives change, different things like that. So from like a school perspective, as far as like role models in the school, I can't remember a teacher that super inspired me when I was a kid. I just can't. Okay. Or I was like, oh, this is super, super great. The only people that I will say that impacted me was I was in ROTC my freshman and sophomore year of high school. And so like the structure of that I think was interesting and good. It showed me I did not want to go into the military, but I was definitely in ROTC. So that kind of helped to just on a social and like get into some of those skills and to see some of the sergeants put together some of the skills that they had to teach us how to be like young adults. So, I mean, school wise, not really, church wise in the facet of my life. When you hit high school at my church, you transition from something called Omni to something called Rush, and they had changed that at the time that I had got to high school. So now it was called, you were going in the vault and you were called Treasured. So I'm getting a new group of high school people on the church side as well. And right off the bat, like not 9th and 10th grade, again, there was nobody that I can think of in my mind 9th and 10th grade year that like, I'm like, oh, they super inspired me. No, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, the teasing kind of stopped 9th and 10th grade at Cass, but not at church like that. Those are still the same people. So, I mean, that's kind of where I was.
So for me, as a last question that I have to kind of put this all in perspective, looking at what you had to endure through 9th and 10th grade, you did this with your dad being in prison. How did that play a role with him not being there through all this? Like going through sports and going through that first girlfriend, and all the other things that you had to go through at a new school in high school, 9th and 10th grade. Did that weigh on you mentally? And if so, how so?
Again, I don't think I was really focused on where my dad was. At that time, like I would still talk to him on the phone and stuff like that, but like it wasn't a focus. My focus was just on what I had going on in front of me, really from a social, academic, and athletic standpoint. I will say what would have been beneficial for me is to have him there because, like, especially when you're starting something new like football, it was hard for me to understand that, to take a back seat because I wanted to play and I didn't play a lot when I first started. Like that really kind of made me mad in a way. And so having a conversation with somebody, and my uncle tried to talk to me about it too, but like having a conversation with my dad about how I could turn that into getting better would have been beneficial for me, getting better at the game instead of just being mad that I'm not playing. And that's something that I had to learn on my own. So yeah, I mean, I don't. It didn't really affect a lot. I would say that it didn't really affect a lot. Did I miss him? Did I want him to be there for my first game? Yeah, but was I upset about it? No. I mean, I understood the circumstances. Just the circumstances were what they were.
Right. Was there a fond memory, something that you want to kind of close out from that experience during those years of your experience in 9th and 10th grade?
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this. Like, I don't want to make it seem like I didn't have friends. Like, I made a lot of friends at Cass. And that grew me socially. I think I was growing socially into who I was becoming and being able to make friends. And I would say a part of that, for example, will show you the change that I made in 11th and 12th grade. And so like one story that I'll give so we can kind of close out is I I had in my 10th grade year, I had this teacher that everybody loved. She was an English teacher named Miss Brown, and she was out for like part of the semester on maternity leave. And so we had this other teacher there, and you know how substitutes go, Mr. Brew.
First of all, you didn't say Mr. Bowie here.
You know how substitutes go,
We haven't
Mister.
gotten to that part of the story yet.
So people were like, we didn't pay any attention to the sub. We're just in the
I'm
back
sure
of
you had one sub you paid attention to.
no. We were in the back of the class, kind of just joking around and not playing it. People would always like make fun of my weight or whatever. So they like kept calling me chubby, or it was just stuff like that. And it came to a point where I really decided just like to get in shape and like tone myself up to like stop dealing with that. But what that decision ended up doing is it opened me up in so much ways to the other parts of my personality, being outgoing, being social. So like those moments of like having people make fun of me because I was overweight or how I looked or different things like that really impacted the rest of my journey, because then once I transformed myself into something that I wanted to be, so people would stop making fun of me. I became more outgoing and social.
Did you transform yourself into something that you wanted to be, or did you do it because of them making fun of you?
It was a twofold thing, right? I was tired of people making fun of me, and B, I wanted to be better at what I was doing. I wanted to be good at football, period. I was tired of not playing. I was tired of not playing. I wanted to play. I wanted to be good. And I was willing to do whatever it took to make those sacrifices and improvements. And so I put in, the work. I've had lots of people, when I thought I was staying at Cass before we moved to Taylor, the coach there, when you go and meet the coach after you've done your JV season, or if you finish playing Little League or whatever, they give you, they meet with you and they tell you what you need to do. And, he basically was words telling me that I needed to either be faster or I needed to be stronger or I wasn't going to play for him. I took that as a challenge. Just like I took people teasing me as a challenge to make myself better. So it was twofold. It was multiple reasons.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you. We appreciate, you sharing your story with us about your 9th and 10th grade years. And what that experience was like. And I
appreciate you sharing the glare from your forehead with me.
We're still on a roll here. Okay, I was not going to continue it, chubs and flubs, but apparently we are going to go there.
Yeah, I know you weren't going to continue it, but it's so hard to see you when all I see is forehead. It's almost like I can't see your face. It's just this.
Mm-hmm.
It's like this part is gone, and I'm literally just looking at bald head. It looks like one like half cut peanut that isn't fully open.
Okay. I don't know what Pinto Bean Head is laughing at, but you and Watermelon Head, I don't really. It's not funny. Anyway, so I want to thank everybody for tuning in. We are close friends, and definitely the story of it is something that shares everybody's story, because I feel like everybody has a story to tell. They've all been through something, and we sit here as friends, joking and laughing, but I think that there is a seriousness inside the story, because we're learning a lot about Manny and his life and what he went through. Without having his dad inside of his life. A lot of people may have both parents inside of their life, and just the struggles and trials and tribulations that he endured. So, I look forward to next week moving into that senior year.
Coming into the prime form.
To move towards
coming
college,
into the prime form.
after that. So, I want to thank everybody for being on the show and participating and sharing their thoughts and their stories. Manny, thank you. And as always, I want to tell everybody, tune in. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And we will see you guys next week.